Oh, let's put the brakes on Nebraska's rise back to the elite of college football. And on the other hand, maybe Colorado will have a shot in a wide open, what appears to be a wide open Pac-12 South. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, and what has been, let's see, I'm thinking past all the games today. Yeah, it's been the best game thus far, by far. Colorado wins against Nebraska in overtime, 34-31. Maybe not the most important game as we trudge through the season, obviously, with Clemson winning and getting past Texas A&M in dominant fashion, Ohio State dominant as well, and Michigan by Army. Check out my instant analysis on those games. But as Clemson was dominating Texas A&M, my attention focused toward Boulder, Colorado, because this became a really good football game, exciting game, best game of the day thus far, 34-31 again. But Nebraska got off to a great start. We didn't think we had much of a game early. Huskers led it 17-0 at the half. Adrian Martinez hit his first 9 pass attempts, and the Huskers were simply dominant along the offensive front, gaining yardage on the ground, protecting Martinez. And then defensively, they just harassed Steven Montez. And the Colorado offense could do nothing, as Sergeant Schultz would say. Nothing for the Colorado offense in the first half, 17-0. First drive for the Buffs, though. They came out, put together a nice 75-yard drive in the third quarter. And the defense, over the first 4 drives of the third quarter for Nebraska, the Buffs suddenly were pursuing to the football, just making tackles in open space and limiting that Nebraska offense to 40 yards on 4 drives. And this is when it got interesting. So 17-0 became 17-7. We are early fourth quarter, and Mel Tucker opened up the playbook, pulled out that flea flicker, and it was exciting to see. The longest, as I understand it, the longest play in Colorado Buffs history, K.D. Nixon on the flea flicker, 96 yards, 17-14. Montez threw it up there. It was beautifully placed, and it was fun to watch, 17-14. Then, so suddenly Folsom Field goes from a graveyard to bedlam because they go from 17-0 to 17-14, but it only took the Huskers one play. Mo Washington went 75 yards for a touchdown on a screen pass. Basically a swing pass. They swung him out of the backfield. It was beautifully blocked. They got him a lane, and then he just took off, and he is elite speed. Tremendous player. He went 75 yards for the touchdown. He caught 4 balls for $118 on the day, 15 carries, 77 yards. So just like that, Nebraska's back up by 2 scores at 24-14. But Colorado would not be discouraged by the touchdown. They came right back. It was starting to turn into that game. It went from a ho-hummer, a sleeper, 17-0, 17-7, to explosive plays all over the field. Broken coverage by the safety of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Thought he had help behind him. And Jalen Jackson only made 1 play on the day, and it went 57 yards up top. And again, Montez started to get some time to throw. He had none for the most part in the first half, and he did make some misfires in the first half. But in the second half, he played lights out. 28 of 41 on the day, 375 yards for Montez. And he goes 57 yards to Jackson, and then Jaron Mangum takes it in for the touchdown. And there were 2 plays by the running back Fontenot, who was taken over as the number 1 back at Colorado. He had an excellent run off tackle on a third down play in which he gained a first down, in which he just carried guys, just showed elusiveness in the hole, knocked guys on their back, and dragged a few guys for the first down. A couple plays later, he catches one-handed across the middle for another first down. So a good series from Fontenot as Montez led the score to make it 24-21 Nebraska. Mustafa Johnson, number 34 for Colorado, is all over the field. He had a strip sack on Martinez, recovered by N.J. Fallow, his second fumbled recovery on the day at the Nebraska 20. The Huskers did hold on defense this time as Laviska Shenault had a big run on the jet sweep, and Huskers hold them to a field goal, but for the first time all day after the first score of the game, we are knotted up at 24 with 8 minutes left. Nebraska, keep in mind, despite their surge late in 2018, despite the one game that they pulled through against Michigan State at home 9-6, could not win these kind of games last year. Lost a close one to Ohio State. Iowa, actually they lost 5 games within a touchdown, only won the one against Michigan State. 1-5 in close games within a touchdown last year. And so the trend continues here. Now 1-6 in these kind of games. Nebraska takes the 31-24 lead, masterfully led down the field by Adrian Martinez, who converted a 3rd and 7 with his legs. That was key. And he scored the touchdown on 4th down. As Nebraska, keep in mind, they lost their place kicker, and this will come into play a little bit later. At this point, they're scoring touchdowns, not coming into play at this point. And so we've got a 31-24 lead. It appeared as though Nebraska iced the game when, after scoring the lead touchdown 31-24, they kicked off to Chenault, who is not typically in the game, but it's a key portion of the game. There's only 4.5 minutes left. Nebraska kicks off. Chenault gets loose. Tremendous run down the field. Number 5 for Nebraska. That's Cam Taylor-Britt. Tremendous play in chasing down Chenault, knocking the ball loose. The walk-on, Luke Reimers, went to the bottom of the pile. We have no idea what was going on, who actually recovered the football, because there was a stack of like 20 players, and Luke Reimers came away with it. Nebraska had the ball near midfield. 4 minutes left, up 31-24. Touchdown lead, 4 minutes left with the ball. Their previous drive, every yard they gained, 75 yards, was on the ground. What do you think they did trying to kill the clock and ice the game? Came out with a play-action pass and had to throw it away because the guy was covered, and they stopped the clock. That drive went 3 and out. And so Nebraska's big advantage there statistically went away. In terms of game situation calculation right there, it totally went away. And Colorado took it back over on offense, and offense from the Buffs that gained 3.8 yards per play in the first half. Actually, through the first 3 quarters, the Buffs only gained 3.8 yards per play. In the fourth quarter, 15.7. Tony Brown went off with a touchdown. A beautiful throw from Montez to the right corner of the end zone. Brown caught the ball Willie Mays style over his head, over his back shoulder. Beautifully placed rainbow throw. And this game was knotted up for the first time at 31 all. Well, I guess it was 24 all. And they had a 4th down conversion in that series, did Colorado. So there's 45 seconds left. Nebraska's got plenty of time to get down the field, score tied at 31. But Adrian Martinez goes deep, gets picked off, and we go to overtime as the Buffs chose to run out the clock on their end of the field. We go to overtime. Colorado gets stuffed, but they're in field goal range for James Stefano to convert, make it 34-31. Okay, key 3rd and 7 play, overtime. Nebraska's got to at least kick a field goal to stay alive. Martinez is sacked by that number 34 again. Mustafa Johnson gets in for the sack. So we've got about a 4th and 15. I didn't look it up technically, but 3rd and 7. He got sacked for 8 to 10 yards. It was about 4th and 16. So decision time here, because you don't have your place kicker. You're trying to tie the game, and it's a long, long field goal of about 45 yards. It was actually a 48-yard kick that Nebraska put its hopes on its punter, Isaac Armstrong, and the lefty just hooked it badly. It wasn't even close. There was no drama as the kick sailed through the air. It looked like the kick Nebraska tried in the 1994 Orange Bowl against Florida State when the Seminoles won the national championship, and they were down 18-16 and tried to win the game, and the kick was just like 50 yards away, and it was a line drive and the ugliest thing, spinning the wrong way. So Nebraska loses it. You could go either way on that. A 4th and 15 call is probably a 8 to 10% chance of converting, something in that range. But when the game's on the line, you got your best player at quarterback in Adrian Martinez. I think you got to go for it and try to pick up the 15 yards and not place it on a kicker who's never been in that spot before. But that was Scott Frost's decision. Colorado moves to 2-0 on the season under Mel Tucker in his first season. Big win against their rival Colorado State last week and another rival in Nebraska this week. The Buffs, again, win at 34-31. The Huskers looked unimpressive last week in winning by 2 touchdowns against South Alabama. They lose this one after leading 17-0. So Nebraska has to learn how to win these games. And would love to know what you think about this Nebraska team going forward now into the Big Ten Western Division play against some difficult teams to deal with. Wisconsin's off to a tremendous start against bad competition. We know what we've got: Iowa elsewhere, and Northwestern and Purdue with a big 18-point win against Vandy this week. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, best discussion, debate, and analysis. We will see you soon with more analysis. Texas LSU on right now. We will see you soon.